Hippos, warm greetings and heartiest thanks from the behalf of Shandipisha Astrology YouTube channel. Pulse, we are all aware that the very purpose or the basic purpose of the arrival of a particular soul in this world of Maya is to rectifying those Prarabdhial depths, is to rectifying those Prarabdhial mistakes that he or she has kept on committing through cycle of previous births. So the journey of the soul is completely focused on performing those pending karmas or to rectifying those karmic debts or prarabdha or to rectifying those prarabdhial mistakes that we have left unrectified in our previous birth. And those pending karmas or the stuffs that you should focus to doing or the stuffs that you should leave, ignore, or the stuffs that you should learn to adjust to are indicated from the position of the Ketu in your particular natal chart. I mean to say, wherever Ketu will posit in your particular natal chart will clearly interpret what you should do to rectifying your prarabdhial debts to becoming one again with the big one. What should be the most appropriate and the most rectified behavioral responses and reactions on your part to move forward on the right track of the nemesis, so that Mother Earth can also bless you with all the abundance that she has in her offering for all of her children. And from the position of here, you will have to understand that at the ultimate court of the nemesis, before your birth, you have been assigned or clearly told the tasks that you should focus on to completing in this existing birth. But after arrival in this existing birth, we tend to forget what we should do. We tend to forget what is the basic purpose of the arrival of our very soul. But from the innate, we know that we should do that. And and that innate that lets you know what you should do or what you should perform is the Ketu, is the shadowy planet itself. And Ketu hence is rightly called the flagship identity of the journey of the soul. The Ketu is really the flagship identity indicating you what you should do, where you should go, what you should learn to adjust to, what you should live unresponded. So it can also be said in this way that wherever Ketu will posit in your particular natal chart will also incur a kind of sense of insecurity in you towards completing or towards performing those stuffs as indicating by those particular houses or those particular zodiac signs. Now, pause. Let's move to the fourth house analysis. Let's move first to the analysis of the fourth house Ketu. Fourth house symbolizes our mother. So such position of Ketu clearly indicates that such natives have prarabdhial debts towards his or her mother. He has to do this, do that, he has to perform, he has to work in this way, he has to react in this way to rectifying his prarabdhial debts towards his or her mother. It may happen in this way that whatever he or she does for his or her mother, he does not ever get the recognition or the appreciation from his or her mother. It may be because of the fact that such natives has done the same with his or her mother in his or her previous birth. So to rectifying those prarabdhial reactions, he has given that verdict from the ultimate core of the nemesis that he has to accept such kind of attitude or reactions from his or her mother to recompensating the prarabdhial mistakes that he has done in his previous birth. Such natives may have left his or her mother in his previous birth. So now in this existing birth, however, how much, completely irrespective of the fact how close he or she is with his or her mother, he has to leave his or her mother and stay in a far away foreign land to recompensating the prarabdhial mistakes of leaving his so dear mother in his previous birth. So such a karmic pattern works. Fourth house also symbolizes our house, our vehicles. Suppose such natives may have worked toilsomely to building a house for himself or herself, and when the moment started for him to relishing the pleasure of staying in his or her in that very house, it might have happened that the time period for him to the expiry date for his mortal body has come and he has to go away. Now in this existing birth, because of his or prarabdhial rewards for working that hard and for building a house for himself or herself, and as a reward to the misfortune of not being able to relish the pleasure of his or her very house in this existing birth, suddenly such natives getting the chance of building a very big house for himself or herself and living inside that same. That situation may also happen in a vice versa way. So such way karmic pattern works, and from the position of Ketu it can clearly be indicated. Again, suppose Ketu is positing at the fifth house. Fifth house is the house of our children. So it clearly indicates that such natives has prarabdhial debts towards his or her children. And as Ketu also gives sense of insecurity, so you will find such natives being overprotective about their children. They will always feel a sense of insecurity of losing their children. It is not because of the fact that he is only caring about his or her children. It is because of the fact that he is caring about the chance that he has got from the ultimate core of the nemesis to rectifying his prarabdhial mistakes towards his or her children. It is in his innate. From the innate he knows that he has to do this, he has to do that to rectifying his prarabdhial mistakes towards his or her children. Maybe he or she has made many a mistake regarding the performance of his or her duties towards his or her children, and now in this life, in this existing birth, he does not want miss out on the second chance given to him to rectifying the same. Again, fifth house is the house of our intelligence. So you will find such natives is the house of our intelligence and self-expression. So you will find such natives being intelligent or adept in particular field of expression, or being the master of a particular sphere of knowledge by birth. When they start speaking on that particular subject, they will feel that they are doing that quite spontaneously and things are coming from the within. It is because of the fact that they have mastered such arts in the previous births, and hence they already know how to perform in those spheres. As Ketu also refers to the spheres of occult, you will find such natives being good astrologers also, and the way they will express the stuffs related with astrology will be considered much better as compared to others, because they have the expertise in that subject from the previous birth, and in this existing birth they have got the skills back, and now hence they are being able to perform better in such field. Now pause, let's move forward to the 6th house. 6th house is a house of competition, is the house of mental stamina. So position of Ketu in the 6th house clearly indicates that such natives will have expertise or mastery in knowing how to become victorious in the field of competition, how to maintain still strong attitude even in worse kind of situations. Such the 6th house also indicates debts. So such natives may also have to suffer from the facts because of debts. It is because of this karmic pattern that such natives might have misused or carelessly spent their wealth, and it also may be in this way that such natives may have not repaid his debts towards others in his or her previous birth. So as of Prarabdhial significance will deem it to be he or she will have to suffer because of debts. It is because of his or her karmic pattern. Such 6th house also indicates ill health or diseases. So it may happen in this way that such natives might have not taken well care of his or her physical body, and hence in this existing birth he or she will have to recompensate those deeds of not taking care of his or her physical body by suffering from ill health. This way karmic pattern goes on. It may be also in this way that such natives may have taken good care of his or her health in his or her previous birth. As a reward to those Prarabdhial deeds in this existing birth, he or she has got birth with good health. You will find many people taking a lot of health hazardous stuffs or the stuffs that are injurious to your health, for example tobacco or alcohol and so on, and they are not suffering any kind of ill health, and there are so many people taking no kind of health hazards or is not addicted to anything, but you will find them suffering from diseases that are mainly the outcome of addiction or taking stuffs injurious to our health. Have you got my point? Suppose you have seen many taking a lot of alcohol and suffering no kind of disease from liver, and you may have also seen many people taking staying away from alcohol completely but still suffering from the disease of liver. So it is because of the fact that the karmic way goes in this way that such natives, such the prarabdhial significance of the health for such natives is so good that here in this existing birth, in spite of taking alcohol, nothing that much bad is happening to such natives, because his prarabdhial significance for health of such natives is that much good, had been that much good in his previous birth. So such way our prarabdhial pattern goes on, and the position of Ketu in the 6th house will be clearly indicative of that fact. Now it will be good or bad will entirely depend on the dispositor of the planet, or dispositor planet for the Ketu, or the position of the Ketu. Now pause, let's move forward to the 7th house Ketu. 7th house is the house of our spouse. So position of Ketu in the 7th house clearly indicates our prarabdhial debts towards our spouse. It may be in this way that you are taking a good care for your spouse, you are always thinking about how to keep your spouse happy, but whatever you are doing, everything goes in vain, and your spouse only becomes angry with you. He just behaves rudely with you, and you are left wondering why such things are happening to you. And you have seen many of your friends doing nothing for their spouse, and their spouse still taking a good care about them, and you are feeling jealous, thinking that they are lucky. But things are not like that. Things are in this way that the prarabdhial significance of the soul for the spouse of the native had been in his previous birth in this way that he has done a lot of good for his or her spouse, and as a prarabdhial reward in this existing birth, he has got such a spouse that whatever he is doing to his or her spouse, his or her spouse is taking good care of him or her. Or the prarabdhial significance for the soul of that concerned native is in this way that he has misused the curing approach from his or her spouse in his previous birth, and now in his existing birth. How much, completely irrespective of the extent of the work he or she is doing for his or her spouse, still getting nothing from his or her spouse. He is getting only rude behavior from his or her spouse. It is because of those prarabdhial mistakes, and it can clearly be indicated, and the position of Ketu in the 7th house is clearly indicative of this fact. Now the good or bad will entirely depend on the dispositor planet or the position of the Ketu. 7th house also refers to your business. So whether the native will face easy environment in his or her business spheres, or face hazardous environment in his or her, or the road full of hindrances in the sphere of business in this existing birth, will entirely depend on the quality of the Ketu. Will entirely depend on the quality of the Ketu posited in the 7th house in the particular natal chart for that concerned native. Let's move forward to the 8th house. 8th house Ketu is considered always good for occult research studies in history. So such natives, so 8th house is also the house of death. So you will find natives with Ketu positing at the 8th house always suffering from a fear of getting died. Because Ketu will give that sense of insecurity. He will always suffer from that fear of getting died, so that he does not have to miss out on the chance of completing his prarabdhial debts related to the spheres as indicated by the 8th house. You will find such natives, 8th house is also the house of transformation. You may find such natives getting transformed suddenly or getting transformed time and time again. You will find such natives transforming to becoming a very good occultist or researcher quite suddenly at a certain period of his or her life, because it is because of his or her prarabdhial debts being carried forward from the previous births. Have not I told you that Ketu is the flagship planet of identity for the soul, for the journey of the soul once started many lives back? First, let's move forward to the ninth house. Ninth house is the house of our father. So, position of Ketu in the ninth house clearly is indicative of our responsibilities towards our father, or towards our father, to rectifying our prarabdhial mistakes towards our father, or towards the responsibilities that we have to perform, that we had to perform in the absence of our father. So you will find such natives always staying engrossed in the fears of losing his or her father. Again, ninth house also signifies religion, so it is also indicative, the position of the Ketu in the ninth house will also be indicative of the fact that such natives will have prarabdhial debts towards the performance of deliverance to religion, to spreading religion, or for the betterment of the religion. You may also find such natives cursing religion. It will also be because of his prarabdhial debts, prarabdhial mistakes once done towards religion in his or her previous birth. Now, let's suppose Ketu is positing at the 10th house. 10th house Ketu clearly is indicative of the fact that such natives has prarabdhial debts towards doing work. Such natives will have to rectify his prarabdhial mistakes regarding his karma or regarding his work by doing work. So it's a tricky situation. You will always find such natives staying engrossed in devising innovations. You will find such natives always staying restless in their jobs, because they will always hover on finding out the exact thing that they should do, that they will feel satisfied with, to rectifying his or her prarabdhial debts towards karma, towards work. Now let's move forward. 10th house is also the house of the responsibility, the responsibilities of is also the house of father, and 10th house is the house of karma. So you will find such natives doing stuffs or doing things in the absence of his or her father. I mean to say that you will find such natives doing or performing the responsibilities of his or her father towards rectifying his prarabdhial debts towards his or her father. It does not mean that 10th house Ketu always will indicate for everyone that he or she will have to lose his or her father. It simply is just a basic interpretation, though many a thing matter, though a complete analysis, many a factor matter regarding for the exact results. Now, pause, let's move forward to the 11th house. 11th house is the house of gains, is the house of material gains. Again, just understand it in this way, that 11th house is the house is seventh from the fifth house. Fifth house is the house of our children. So house of our children, the reflection of the house of our children will be your 11th house. So such natives may have prarabdhial debts towards his or her children. Seventh house is also again the house of spouse. So such natives will also have prarabdhial debts towards the spouse of his or her children. Such natives will always stay in a fear, or will always stay engrossed in the sense of insecurity of losing their financial balance. They will always feel the fear, that something might happen which will take back their financial security. Now pause, let's move forward to the 12th house. 12th house, as we all know, that is the house of abundance and is also the house of moksha. And so 12th house Ketu will clearly be indicative of the fact that such natives will have prarabdhial debts, will have to rectify prarabdhial mistakes to move forward on the road to attaining abundance. And for such natives, for 12th house Ketu, Rahu will be in the 6th house. So 6th house Rahu makes natives very materialistic. So such natives will always be of the view that you cannot attain moksha or ultimate liberation by taking sannyas. They will be of the point of view that till you feel the abundance, till you relish the pleasure of abundance, how will you be able to make sacrifice of the same? So such natives will be after attaining material bliss. They will like to relish material abundance, and it will be their curve. And to attaining the same will be the road to rectifying their prarabdhial debts. It will be the most appropriate and rectified behavioral approach for them to move forward to. And once they will get the abundance of material bliss, they will think of making sacrifice of the same to move forward on the road to attaining association with the big one, or the moksha.